Alright, today I'm going to check out this red green dot by CVLIFE or CVLIFE, however you would choose to say that there. It's a 1x22x33, kind of a reflex style. It's a red and green dot, as I said. You have various different reticles here you can switch to, and I'll highlight that in both colors here in a second. We'll go over the features real quick, and then we'll get it on some rifles here and put it to the test. And just to get it out of the way, this is not a paid sponsorship. However, they did send this out to me for testing purposes. Now, these hover around the $30 mark, but currently on Amazon, right now, this day as I record this, they're marked down to $20-some. So, you know, generally they average around 30 bucks or so, but if you find them on sale, you can find them in the 20s there. Which, by the way, I'll put a link in the description to this exact site here, so if you want to check it out for yourself, you can do so. So inside the box, comes with 2 batteries, which is nice. You got your screen wipe there, obviously, a little bit of instructions there for mounting and operation. You have this little cover here that goes over the glass to keep it nice and clean, and then down in there you have your adjustment Allen wrenches, I should say. So the larger one here is going to be to go to the rail, which, by the way, this is a 20mm / Picatinny rail mount here. Use that larger one for your windage and elevation adjustments as well. And I'm not quite sure, looks like to take it down, if that'll focus. It's probably what this itty bitty one here is for, if you want to take it completely apart there. And this does co-witness with the 1.5-inch over bore height there for, you know, most flip-up sights and whatnot. And your A2 here on most ARs, they're at a 1.5-inch height. So this does co-witness with anything that is set at that height. For those who aren't familiar, what co-witness means is you put it here and you can still see your iron sights, especially if you have a iron rear behind or in front of this. It'll perfectly line up and allow you to see your iron sights. So should your battery die in, say, a self-defense situation or anything like that, it's not going to be the end of the world, because as long as you have your iron sights still mounted, co-witnesses perfectly with that. So if your battery fails on you, you still have your iron sights there for backup. Now I'm going to try to show you guys the reticles here in both colors, but keep in mind that through the camera it just never quite looks like it does in real life. Cameras usually don't do a very good job of focusing on it, so it's probably going to look a lot bigger and blurrier through the camera lens than it would through your actual eye. However, I can tell you here that this has, yeah, that looks way bigger on the camera there. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get that to focus. We're going to try here though, but has a real nice fine dot, which I always like. I don't like the big fat fuzzy ones. I mean, those are okay for up close, but you want a nice fine dot for long range precision, and this definitely has a nice fine dot there. There you go. You can kind of see it there, and I'm trying to see here. Yeah, it does look a little bit brighter to my actual human eye than it does through the camera here, focused on it like that. And it is just slightly bigger than that in real life there. So, but at least I was able to focus in on it there. So as you can see, it's a nice fine dot. That is with the power all the way up, but like I said, it actually looks a little brighter in person than it does through the camera here. And I'm getting rained on, so we're gonna have to go take a break here and put all this crap up for a second. Well, while I'm waiting on this rain to pass here, go ahead and show you guys the other reticles. Alright, so I know it's hard to see in here because it's dark now, but that is that one there. You see the white dot is lined up with what it's corresponding with. So basically kind of like a circle there with a little dot in the middle. And now it doesn't want to focus. Okay, I'm glad it's showing me this way though, so that's not what it looks like. I'll get it in a second. But that's about the actual size that it appears to me while looking through the sight. But when this thing actually focuses on what it looks like, it makes it appear much smaller than it actually is. So let me get that real quick. Maybe. There we go. Sorta. Ah, it keeps changing cameras on me there. Kind of hate that feature about this. So there you go, and it's making the ring look a lot more robust and fat, wide, what have you, than it actually is. Now if you look at the back, you can see I switched it to the cross there. Again, camera not doing a good job of showing what it looks like. It looks much, again, rounder and more wide than it actually is. Plus, it's making it look about half the size that it actually is. So when I look through it with my eye, it's actually about twice as big as that. Although the posts, they're much more narrow, like what it shows back here. Again, the camera's just not focusing on it correctly for me to give you guys an accurate representation there of what it actually looks like. So, and then this final one here, it's kind of a circle, a little bit smaller than that circle there, with a dot in it, and then it also has the cross going through it. And of course this thing's not going to focus on it for me. Yeah, that one's real hard to show through here. So all these, they pretty much look like just what it displays on the back here. That's what they look like. It's just the camera is doing a really poor job of focusing on that. And then there's with the red, again, focus is just not going to work out for me there. Let's click over to this cross here. Come on, camera. And these do appear much more vibrant and bright in person. Like, this is kind of making it look like just like a faded red color, but it's not in real life. It's very bright and vibrant. And again, not an accurate representation of what it looks like. It pretty much looks just like that looking through it with my eye. There's that one in red, and then there's your dot, which again doesn't look very bright on camera here, but it looks a little brighter through the eye. I will say that I like the real precise red dot like this, like I stated just a couple minutes ago. But if you want it to be much more vibrant and bright, once you switch to one of these larger reticles, it really lights up in there. So apologize that, you know, the camera, I mean, it's a pretty common thing. It's really hard to focus in on stuff like that with the camera. But like I said, guys, it pretty much looks like the representation on the back here. Sorry about the other gunshots if you hear that, but this is a public range, so there's nothing I can do about that. So as far as like overall brightness goes, now that it's overcast because of this rain, it's starting to clear up on us here a little bit. Yeah, the brightness is more than adequate for this. Actually, if I go much past 2 or 3 there on that fresh battery, it gets too blurry because it's too bright. So that's where the adjustments come in handy. So you got 5 different settings. If this thing would focus, it goes from 1 to 5 on both red and green, so you can make it as bright or as dim as you want. So out here when it's overcast like this, you're not going to want the brightest setting because it'll look fuzzy because it's so bright. So you actually turn it down, and then the outline and everything gets more crisp. However, when it's full sun, that's when you want to go with the brightness level all the way up, which I did get to do for a second off camera right before this rain rolled in. And it's plenty bright enough on a fresh battery for me to see in full sun as well, and it's nice and crisp and not blurry. So depending on your conditions will determine how high you want the brightness setting on it. Alright, well, the rain finally passed, so I can get this thing mounted up and we can test her out here. So first I'm going to mount it up on this upper here that BCA sent me. This is a 22 Magnum upper. Previously did a video on the 16-inch version of this. Now I have the 20-inch. So we're going to mount it up on this first. There'll also be a review video of this coming up. I haven't shot this yet, so for starters, we're going to throw that on there. And then I have a 7.62x39 upper. This is currently a 5.56 upper. I'm going to switch to that, and we're going to mount it up on the 7.62x39 AR as well. I did ask him how much recoil this could handle, and the response I got was 800 G's, as in G-force. So depending on rifle weight and whatnot, should be able to handle a 308 based off of that. It's real hard to find information on how much G's a particular gun and caliber create. They told me 800 G's, so if you guys can calculate that somehow, that's what it can handle. So that's also part of the reason I wanted to mount it on its 7.62x39 as opposed to 223 5.56 upper, because you do have a little more recoil with the 7.62x39. So that'll be a decent test there. But that being said, it should easily be able to handle 5.56, 7.62x39, 300 blackout, anything like that. All right, there she is all mounted up. So get this mag loaded here and get her sighted in and start running it. All right, so I have 65 rounds of 22 Magnum through it so far, and she's still holding 0. I'm kind of doing 2 videos at once here, going back and forth. Like I said in the beginning, I'm reviewing this upper. So 65 rounds, 22 WMR, no problem, still holding 0. If you want to see those shots, make sure you check out this video. It's going to come out a couple days after this video for the review on the red dot here today. So when that comes up, I'll put a link in the description or the comments, one or the other or both, and you can check that out if you want to see those shots. But as you can see here, I went through 65 rounds so far, and she's still holding 0, allowing me to knock over all these targets. All right, so down here on the rifle range now, and I have my 16-inch steel gong. It's white there, center of your screen. I think it will reach out and try to hit that. So instead of taking that out to 200 my gong there, we'll just go ahead and shoot this smaller. It's basically like a little headshot target there or whatever. All right, we'll take a few from the gong here, and then I'll get you guys zoomed in on it after a few shots. Just remember, like I said, guys, this one's at least half the size. It probably is right about exactly half the size, 8-inch plate. It's not going to make as much noise because it's much thicker steel. And at that angle, it's further back from the mound. Plus, we're at an angle here, probably about 130 yards if I had to guess. So that's what we'll be shooting at right there. All right, as you can see there from the footage, she's holding 0 real well. We're just pegging that thing there at about 130 yards, that little 8-inch steel plate. And again, still somewhat rapid fire, so she's holding 0 real good. So I'll get that 7.62x39 upper on it over there, get it remounted up, and we'll put it through the paces with that heavier caliber. All right, so there she is mounted up on the 7.62x39 upper. Sorry if it's kind of dark, it's got another storm rolling in here. I told them I'd come out here and get this video done today. I seen all the storm clouds coming in when I left. I was like, we'll see how it goes. So anyways, so now speaking of the co-witness that I was talking about earlier, okay, remember, it will co-witness anything with a 1.5-inch height over bore, okay, which that's what this is. That's what my front sight is here, and that's what a lot of the flip-ups you buy on to install on the fully railed guns are 1.5-inch height. So you do have to pay attention to that if you put them on a base that can change the height and whatnot. But this comes with this base to be a 1.5-inch overbore co-witness, and I'll show you that right here if I can get this thing focused. It's gonna be a little more difficult with the stock on here. Let me see if I can get it figured out for you guys. So basically what that means is that dot, okay, a co-witness, it'll put that dot, if your iron sights are perfectly zeroed and your dot is zeroed for the same range, it'll put the dot right on top of your front blade there. So like I said earlier, if your red dot fails, and a lot of guys like to run the flip-ups with these, that way your sight's out of the way. So with the flip-up sight, you could have it flipped down and you'll only see the dot. If your battery dies or whatever in a life and death situation or what have you, with that co-witness, you can flip up your iron sights and you'll be able to see those through there. So you'll have a rear sight either behind or in front of this to still line up with that front sight. So it'll allow you to co-witness should anything ever happen to the optic there. So anyways, obviously this was zeroed for the 22 Magnum we just had it on. However, it does look very close. So I think actually what I'm going to do to verify that, we'll get this set up with a fresh target out there, probably 50 yards, get it zeroed, shoot some of those steel targets, and then come back to this and make sure it's still zeroed. Which, by the way, guys, if you want to get yourself some of these targets, target stand, shooting bag, earmuffs, anything you see me use in the video, links in the description for that. I'm going to get this taped up down there. I'm going to get her sighted in. So I'm going to use this Bellum 7.62x39. This is my favorite ammunition in that caliber so far, as you know, actually being attainable and affordable, and brass cased instead of that Russian steel crap. This stuff out of my Anderson here, I got a 1 1/4 inch group at 100 yards, and that is not a free floated barrel, and that's a mil-spec trigger. So that's pretty good stuff for the money there. I did a review on that, and we also shot long range with this, 500 yards accurately. So I'll put a link to those videos in the description as well if you want to check that out. So I was just aiming at the debris there next to my gong, just seeing where it was hitting so that I could work on zeroing it. So I adjusted it down a few clicks here, and then I took another shot here. Alright, I took those few shots there just to see where we were, so it's lined up good. It was just shooting high. So brought her down, and we should be pretty close to zeroed now. It might still be about an inch or so high out there, but I'm okay with that, especially if we go out further. There's some other targets out there. So let's go ahead and print a group. We'll do center mass here. Jesus Christ. I literally just caught that. It fell off the bag and I caught it. Anyways, apparently I didn't have that sitting on there good enough. So we'll just go center mass on this blue target. Alright, so here's our group at 50 yards. Like I said, I wasn't trying to be really precise or anything like that. You can see I got them all right here. So we are a little off to the left, but I'm not going to adjust it because some people might say, oh, well, you moved it and you changed it, so now we can't tell. So, of course, I could zero this dead center here, but I'm going to leave it where it is. And on these steel targets down here, we'll just aim a little bit off to the right. That way I don't touch it, and then when we're done shooting at the steel, we'll come back to this target, aim dead center again, and see if they're still printing over here, which is obviously what we're looking for because that means it held zero. So we got these large silhouettes sitting out here. Those two are just in front of 100 yards. That one's just in front of the 150 mound. Got some farther out there, I think that's 250. So we'll put some rounds on those, and then we'll recheck our zero. And again, if you guys skip through the video, 7.62x39, that's giving us more recoil than 5.56. So decent durability test there. You know, I'd recommend this for 223, 5.56, 7.62x39 like we got here, 300 blackout, things like that. As I stated earlier in the video, not sure if it could handle 308 on an AR platform because of the extra vibration, semi-automatic action. I do believe it would be fine on a 308 bolt action gun, but I'm not sure that I personally would risk it on an AR platform. As I stated earlier in the video, they said that it can handle 800 Gs, which a 308 comes in under that with a more heavy type, you know, 7-8 pound hunting bolt action rifle. So I think it should handle that just fine according to what the company stated at 800 Gs. Based on my research, just not so sure if a lightweight AR platform, if it would handle that. But I do want to check, make sure it can handle 223, 5.56, 7.62x39, 300 blackout, those sorts of things, because that's what most of you guys are going to run something like this on anyways. Alright, let's try some of these other ones. We'll try that one in front of the 100-yard mound. And then there's one out there. The mound behind it there is 150, plus there's a buffalo there. So let's hit those. All right, let's go to this one out here, 250 yard mound. The buffalo's at 150. Then that one behind it is 200, and then that one's 250 there with the pink target. There we go. And see if we can hit that a few times at 250 yards there. I'm just gonna aim a little high. All right, there was 3 hits in a row at 250 using Kentucky windage. I want to point out it's pretty windy too. So that was in the wind there. So I'm going to finish out this mag, try to do kind of a rapid fire off the bag there at that silhouette there. It's just shy of 100 yards. And then we'll come back to our target there and see if she held 0. But I mean, the fact that I'm hitting all these out there, I'm inclined to believe that it held 0 pretty well. Alright, so put her through the paces pretty well there. We'll let the barrel cool down some. That way it doesn't throw off, you know, where it prints or anything like that. And we'll take some more shots down here at that 50-yard target, like I said, and make sure she held 0 for us there. Alright, well, it looks like it's still in the exact same spot, so this up and down variation is just me because I'm using red. I tried green and it didn't really help me anymore over red, so I just starting down here and then I'd like cover this with the red dot, and then I think sometimes I was like trying to make sure I'm still on center, so sometimes I'm pulling the trigger up here, sometimes I'm pulling the trigger down here on it, but anyways, the up and down stringing is me. So as you can see there, exact same spot after all that. So she definitely held 0 for us. That's good. So that'll wrap up the testing portion there. It held 0, so obviously that's the most important thing. As I hit on earlier in the video, the dots were a little harder to see. And throughout shooting it today, I've been out here for a couple hours now with the 2 different rifles. I can tell you that under full sun, it's just not, the dot itself's not quite doing it. As I said, you can switch to one of these other reticles and you just got a whole lot more real estate there and it just lights up better. So if you're having a hard time seeing, you can switch to one of those. But as for the red or green dot, it is a little difficult to see in the full sun there. So that's a little bit of a bummer for me because I like using the red dots. However, that's what I used all day, and as you can see, I was still hitting my targets and such. It just wasn't quite as bright as I would like it to be, I guess. I mean, out here in the overcast is perfectly fine. On these longer ones, I was turning it down to about the midway setting there on number 3. But when it's full sun, you can see it's coming out now. It's not full though. I was having it pretty much all the way up so I could see it, and it was still adequate. Like I said, I could still see it. It's just not Rudolph's red nose there, if that's what you're looking for. It is kind of dim in full sun. But like I said, switch out one of these other reticles here and you'll see it just fine in the full sun. I just personally prefer the little dots because I like to be real precise like that. And with the dots, I just couldn't, they weren't super bright in the full sun. So that's my honest to God opinion there. You know, I think that's about par for the course for something that's $25, $30 like that. Obviously what you're going to be looking for at that price point is that it holds 0. Like I said, I use 7.62x39 because it has more recoil than 5.56, and this is a pretty light rifle, about the 6-pound range there. So you're getting way more recoil with this than you would like an AK, for example. It's a little heavier, so the recoil on that's a little bit softer than it is in an AR platform like this. So pretty decent recoil there, and as you guys can see, it held 0. So that's what's most important there, is that it holds 0 for you. Well, obviously the illumination needs to work too, but like I said, guys, link in the description if you want to check it out. Thanks to them for sending it out for the testing today. Thanks to you guys for watching. As I said earlier, you want to get yourself anything you see in the videos, like the shooting bag there, earmuffs, targets, target stands, even my steel target, the gong I bring out here, links in the description. But thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you on the next one.